thanks for joining me today. I am Andy. I'm having a great day, thanks, but the question is, what kind of day are you having, eh? I bet it's something to do with energy, and that's what this video is going to be about, really. Energy is a word we use a lot when we're doing any of the metaphysical things, I guess, when we're reading, when we're healing, when we're making music. And, you know, I could make a really long list of all the different kinds of energy there are. And what's that all about? Because really, when you get down to it, there is only sort of one universal source of energy. And yet we see it in so many different ways. And it's a lot like the way I've often spoken of, you know, the human race and what we're all about as people. In other words, the old legend that God came to the earth as a glass sphere and shattered when he hit the earth, and we are all the fragments of that divine energy, of that divine being. And we're all expressing different aspects of that somehow. You get similar people, you get people who like each other, who form, you know, groups together. You get people who don't like other people. I think we all, you know, have that feeling somewhere along the line. But we all know that we're all supposed to get on somehow, yeah? I think a great many people feel pretty bad if there's someone that they really can't get on with, if there's someone they're really not comfortable with. And why would we all get pushed together, thrown together like that? The truth is, you know, that is part of the divine plan, because we're always trying somehow to come together. And so when we're not working together, something doesn't feel right, things don't go so well, it's tricky. And some people just aren't meant to work together, you know, that really seems to be true as well. So it all gets very confusing, you know. I've started off talking about energy, and I'm all over the place. In fact, as I sit here, it's quite hard to pin down which aspects of energy to talk about, which aspects of it matter. And there are so many different energies. I've been told sometimes that I shouldn't mix the energies, you know, I shouldn't kind of mix healing with tarot, and I shouldn't mix tarot with psychic stuff, and I shouldn't mix psychic stuff with spiritualist mediumship. And where does any of that relate to music, which is another energy that I've had the blessing of being able to work with at times. And actually, you know, whatever we do, I think we just about all work with music. I've only met one person ever who said that he really didn't like any kind of music. But he did have a record collection, a vinyl collection. This is quite a long time ago, you know, before CDs or anything like that. I think we had tapes in those days, but that was about it. And he had quite a big record collection. He seemed to be into it because of how much the records were worth, and that, you know, he was the big man who'd got the best music. But he did actually have a relationship with music, even though he claimed not to really be interested in it. So, you know, all the energies get into all of us one way or another. And every human being is actually a mixture of energies. So why do we see them in different ways? Why do we see them as different things? Well, it's the nature of life, it's the nature of the universe. We come to this world, there's so many different things going on in the world, and to really understand anything, we have to kind of focus on that one thing until we understand it, or at least until we feel that either we understand it or we understand as much of it as we're going to learn at the present time, and then we focus on something else, and then something else, and something else, and then we get into relationships and we start trying, at least, to focus on things that matter to the other person. That's all a part of growing a relationship. And even though then we're focused on something that someone else is more interested in than we are, that's actually all a part of bringing into our own life that person and all the magic that that person has to offer. It happens in families as well, when we don't really have a choice. There are things my sister's interested in that I just can't help knowing about. For example, she's a massive Bowie fan, really big on David Bowie, and she had some sort of job to do with running his fan club at some time during his life. And I've never been all that keen on David Bowie, but I can't help knowing some stuff just because of the conversations that I had with my sister when I was trying to work out where she was at And that got me trying to work out where he was at. And speaking of Bowie, actually we're going to do a reading very shortly with the Starman Tarot. I'll do a 5-card, pick a card, and it'll all be about this subject of energy. And so, back to the same question I started with, really, why are there so many different kinds of energy if they're all going back to the one source, if they're all going towards the same thing? And it comes down to something else that I very often say in my videos, actually. Whenever we're doing anything cosmic or spiritual, we are really trying to work with superhuman knowledge, the whole knowledge of the universe. It's a massive thing, and it is a thing, at the level of the universe, at the level of God, the Great Spirit, whatever way you want to see that. It is just kind of one block of energy. It's amazing. I don't even like to call it a block, actually, because a block it puts a kind of limit on it, doesn't it? It puts a fence around it, and it's not. It spreads out everywhere. But there is another example of me, a human being, trying to explain to other human beings what I know about this thing that is so much bigger than any human being is ever going to understand. And when we, reach our time and move over to the afterlife, to eternal life, where we've all been before, by the way, then we'll become aware once again of that bigger picture, and we'll see not so much how it fits together, but how it is. It's a very human thing to try and see how it fits together. But the reason it all fits together is that in reality it is only one thing we're looking at. So, supposing you want to follow the Reiki path, suppose you want to be a healer, and actually even within that, Reiki is only one expression of healing. There are so many different ones. In spiritualism, there's spiritualist healing, which is hands-on healing, and which works through the chakras, but somehow the spirit guides involved with it are different, and that's because they're all playing to their strengths. They're giving the best of themselves to something that they particularly suit, and as human beings that's what we try to do. So if we're into healing, there'll be one particular way of it that appeals to us more than others. On my Reiki journey, I very quickly got to know about the interest of a friend of mine in healing, and he'd never really talked about it before, actually, but Reiki came up, and then we got on to the thing that he's following, which is called Amadeus healing. I think it means the love of God, and it's a shamanic kind of healing, but it has symbols like Reiki does. One of its main symbols is a lot like the Shoku Rei of Reiki, and it's very, very similar, but for some reason, he's on that path. And at the time I got onto the Reiki path, I'm still very much on it, it's still very much a part of my life. But I reached a point where I couldn't really go any further with it just by concentrating on Reiki and other things that I'm interested in, other things that work for me, as it were. And what I mean by that is things that work through me for other people, and so it kind of suits my energy and what I like to think I'm all about. And so I started bringing other things into it. At the time I was also on the path to being a spiritualist medium. In fact, I got on that path before I really discovered Reiki. But that kind of came to a standstill. Sometimes you've got to learn a bit more in life about how these things apply, how these things work for me, for different people. So there's that bit more to learn before you can go further with it. And that's the situation I found myself in. So spiritualism came up, and then Reiki came up. And then eventually spiritualism started coming back into Reiki. And that all happened at a time when I was working in a crystal shop. And it's a very magical kind of crystal shop, as I'm sure you can imagine. But all the crystals have different energies. That we had to sort of know as much as we could about all the different crystals to be able to talk intelligently to people who came in to buy them. So just then, crystals, huge, great spread of different possibilities, different energies. And a lot of teachers say, well, you mustn't mix the energies. And for me that came up in spiritualist mediumship, because at the same time as I was doing that I was actually reading cards, and I was taught, my first lessons in mediumship from another human being. I've been taught by the spirit people all my life. We all are being taught by them all the time. But my first spiritual lesson from another human being, who is a medium, was about working through cards, because he worked online and that's what he felt I'd been called to do, and hooray, it seems to be what I'm called to do, because I'm still doing it a great many years later. He pulled a card for me, and he was able to describe members of my family who'd passed over into the afterlife and give me messages from them, and he was able to know a great deal about me as well, just by pulling a card, just by reading a card. And you know, I've been on meandering paths going sideways and back and forth about things all many years since then, and I have actually still ended up reading cards for people online. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button, because I do live readings all the time. I did one last night. Many thanks to you if you were there, or if you've been on any of them. It's always great to see people. But if you're new, catch one of the lives, okay? If you hit the subscribe button, you will get notified when I go live, and then hopefully I can actually pull a card personally for you, give you something, whatever I can bring into your life from the spirit realms through a card, and you know, we'll go onwards and upwards together like that. That's great. It's one of the wonderful things about online, particularly YouTube. But even then, within online, there are so many different ways of working, aren't there? There are Facebook mediums, Instagram mediums, there are TikTok mediums. That's something I've never really looked into. But I seem to have found my way onto YouTube, and that seems to be working. The energies are all sort of pointing in the right direction, and things seem to be taking off in a very slow, modest kind of way. But, you know, it is superhuman knowledge at work here, so I've got to give it time. We've all got to give it time. But anyway then, mediumship, if you live, I mean, in some countries of the world they don't have spiritualist churches, and the spiritualism movement isn't really known. But it's quite big in Britain. It's quite big in the United States and Canada as well, and Germany and other places I could mention. But in Britain, to me, the idea that I was a spiritualist medium meant that I should get in touch with a church and look into that. So I did. And it was a wonderful experience the first time I went to that church, actually. I arrived a little bit late because I couldn't find anywhere to park my car. And so I'd never been to one of these churches before. I didn't know what to expect. And I walked in, and someone showed me a seat, and I sat down. And the medium at the front was already talking. And she started giving messages out then from the other side, and she actually came to me first of all, and she described my father in the spirit world, and she gave me a message which it was wonderful. You know, I won't say I couldn't believe it, because I'd been doing it through cards online myself, and I knew it was a thing, I knew it was for real, but it was nevertheless quite an amazing thing to get that happening for me, to have that given to me. I'm so grateful and so delighted that it worked that way. So then at the end of the service in the church, I went and talked to some of the people who ran the church and said, would it be possible for me to look into starting on a course of training or learning or something, because I found that I was able to do mediumship and I wanted to develop it to work in the churches. And I did end up working in the churches. I haven't for a long time now, because of the great illness that's sweeping around the world at the moment. It's got all these places closed down at the moment. I still do it online, actually. We have Zoom services for spiritualist churches. I'm doing one this weekend. I'm very much looking forward to it. But I never actually made it in that church. Several years after I started, they did invite me to take a service, and I did take a service, and it was great fun, all very good. But the people who ran that church weren't comfortable with me standing up on the platform in their church and conducting a service, because they felt that as an online medium I was more of a psychic than a medium, and that was kind of a dirty word to them. Exactly why, I don't know, but they were dead against it. And I ended up working in other churches where the people were a bit more broad-minded. But there was this criticism, you know, from this original church, that I was mixing the energies, that I was kind of doing it psychically, and that I should only be connecting to people in the spirit world. And what they didn't seem to understand is the whole thing of being psychic, the whole thing of healing, all these different strands of energies, all come from the same place, all come from the same source. And I wouldn't be able to do the psychic stuff without my spirit guides who work with me when I'm healing, when I'm chakra balancing, whatever I'm doing. It's all the same guides, it's all the same source. And that's what spiritual energy is. It is all as one. There are so many different aspects to it, but it's all as one. Just like living our lives in this world. You know, it's a life. Whatever anybody is doing, good, bad, different, whatever, it's a life. People have their lives. And it's all an expression of the eternal soul. It's all part of a plan that we sign up to before we ever come to this world. And yet people will insist on, you know, saying, well, that's different to this. You know, you can't do that. And as soon as you come away from spiritual groups of people, actually, that's not the way. If I look at something else I've done, which was woodwork, I worked in a harp factory making harps. This is Wales, UK, the land of the harp, so that seemed like a good thing to do. And I got in there really because of my musical qualifications and certain things that I already understood about making instruments. I'd repaired church organs, that kind of thing. But the fact that I'd done woodwork on its own in the past, woodwork that wasn't anything to do with musical instruments, that actually sold quite well when I was interviewing for the job in the harp factory. Because, you know, we made harps out of wood. That's the bottom line, and you did need to know about woodwork. So no one ever said, oh, you know, you shouldn't have made a chair. You know, that's no good. It was, oh, you made a chair, great. Well, you know, as you put the wood together, it's similar with this part of the harp. And so it all came together. And you just don't get this kind of prejudicial thinking just about anywhere in life. But I'm afraid it does come into spiritualism, it does come into mediumship, it comes into healing, it comes into card readings. Some people think you should only read the tarot or the oracle and not both. But goodness me, it's all the same energy. It really is. So there we go. I hope I haven't totally confused everyone now. I'm going to just change the camera around a little bit, and then we'll get some cards out from the Starman Tarot, and we'll do a 5-card pick a card reading. So I didn't change the camera around all that much, but I did get a drink. It's very good to have a drink of liquid as you're going along. Water is the best. I've got some nice Earl Grey tea in my mug here, so I'm going to take a drink of that. And then I'll put that down and we will open up the Starman Tarot. Okay, if you watch the lives, I nearly always work with oracle cards on the live sessions. That just seems to be the way it works. I have tarot cards with me, and if you're ever on the live and you'd like a tarot card pulled for you, you know, all you've got to do is say the word because the cards are there. But I keep getting drawn to oracle cards when I work live. Nevertheless, pick a card tarot readings seem to be popular with people, and the important thing is they seem to hit the spot with people. It seems to really mean something to it. So that's why I keep working this way too. So whatever energy you're concerned with, whatever you're interested in, whatever question you want to ask of the universe at this moment in time, please go ahead, please ask that question in your own mind. You know, you don't have to tell me, you don't have to write anything down. It's always good, by the way, if you guys leave a comment. You know, I'm always interested to hear what this means to you, who you are, what's your star sign. It just helps us get in touch. It helps the spirit guides really work together, because as a medium, as a reader, as a healer, whatever I'm doing, it's my spirit guides linking to your spirit guides. You know, we've all got spirit guides, and they'll kind of push me in the right direction because I've focused on learning to channel this stuff, you know. And if you leave a comment, it just all helps strengthen that energy up. It really, really does. And by the way, if you would like, if you would like to buy me or the channel a coffee, please head over to ko-fi.com, that's ko-fi.com/Andy's Readings, all one word, no apostrophe, and you can see some pictures of life around my home in the beautiful West Wales countryside here. You can buy me a coffee if you like, but generally speaking, you don't have to, and it all sort of makes you part of the community, you know, it all helps us work together. Also, please do hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see some more of these, and that will give you the notification for the live. So let's cut the pack, and let's take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards out of here. They're spilling now. And we'll see what we've got. Okay guys, I'm going to put the rest of the cards over there so the energies don't interfere. There's another example of it. They're spilling everywhere. Whatever, oh no, whatever I try to do, the Starman cards always spill because they're nice and smooth. What makes them easy to shuffle also makes them easy to spill. What are you going to do about it? So there's the knowledge of the tarot, you know. There are 72 cards in a deck, and you know, a book of explanations. Every deck is a little bit different. Every deck has its own energy. Every card has its own energy, but it's all part of the one thing, the one great source. So friends, here are 5 aspects of that source. Yeah. So what are you going to pick? Card number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? That's the question. We'll go that way this time. That seems to be the way to do it. I expect the camera will flip it, but honestly, I'm not sure. So pick a card between 1 and 5, or you can kind of pick 1, 2, 3 and 5. You can pick 2 and 4. You can pick any combination you want, or you can pick all 5, as it says in the title. I hope, if there's enough room to put it in the title. Did you pick card number 1, friends, or did you pick all of them? That's the question. Well, this is card number 1. Let's turn it round. And it's this one. It's number 15, and it's the devil from the major arcana of the tarot. Now there is a scary character indeed, the devil, but it's not the evil sense of the devil. It's all to do with the nature of life, and life sometimes forces us to go in a particular direction, and sometimes the world forces us all to change direction, and that is the nature of what's going on in the world at the moment. We've got all the unrest over the United States election, and believe me, I'm in UK and I'm feeling that, because that is going to affect the way the whole world is. All over the world there are different things going on. All over the whole world we've got this one medical thing going on that's giving everyone concerns at the moment. A thing I can't name, or my channel will get, I don't know, I'll get some kind of trouble about the channel, so I can't mention it. But you know what I'm talking about. It's got us all shut up at home. It's got us all unable to move, unable to breathe almost, and it is going to lift at some point. But it's a thing that was thrown into life. It's a thing that forced change upon us. And this is really what the devil card is all about, you know. The devil is in the detail to a very large extent, but even if we come away out of the details are different for absolutely everyone in life. But this is kind of, you know, go ahead, do something, make a difference. In the major arcana it comes 2 cards after the death card, which is a new start, and this is saying, you know, go ahead, make that start making something happen in your life. If you picked card number 1, there's no choice, it's going to start happening whether you want it to or not. So you might as well call it, friend. You might as well call it yourself and get that journey going the way you feel you need it to go. Okay, it's all about feelings, it really is. Card number 2 was and is this one. Did you pick card number 2? Or did you pick all 5? Whichever way you want to swing with that, really. This is card number 2, and it is a number 2. It's the 2 of Wands, and when we get this card, stuff is going to start happening. Very much like the devil card, actually. It's a kind of an action card, really, the 2 of Wands. The Wands are all about getting things done. The Wands are all about action of one kind or another, or maybe even inaction. And we see some inaction with the 2 of Wands here. As I look closely at it, this character is he's looking at one of the wands and he's deciding what to do with it. He's aware that he's got another wand in his other hand, and he's wondering how that's actually going to come together, how that's actually going to work. But he is only going to find out if he sets off on that journey, whatever it is, if he starts taking those first steps along his spiritual path or his worldly path. Can be either, can be both. They both go together, let's face it. But again, it's time for action, and there's nothing new going to come along, basically, when we get the 2 of Wands. There's nothing new going to come along until we start taking those steps, until we start making things happen. So card number 3 is going to be the heart of the matter. This is card number 3. Did you pick card number 3? Whether you picked that or picked all 5, this is the heart of the matter. It's Major Arcana again. This time it's number 18. It's the moon. And here we've got that thing of the moon where, you know, are we getting the right advice? Are we coming from a place where we're kind of being guided too much by stuff that's happened in the past in our own minds? Are we getting the wrong advice from someone? Are we getting the right advice from someone? Are we reading the situation correctly? That's another important aspect of what the moon is all about. We've got these kind of owl characters here showing great wisdom, but if we look up closely at the owl characters, they're kind of split. Their heads are split, so their minds are split. They're looking at things from 2 different angles, and they're not sure if either angle is right. And it's a confusing time with the world at the moment. So much is changing, so much is, you might say, in a state of flux. And this is the heart of the matter. This is why we've got 2 cards telling us we need to get things done. And the things we need to get done are different for all of us. That's something you've got to decide about. And you've kind of got to be honest with yourself. And the moon card is really pushing that be honest with yourself aspect, that whole attitude there. Because the moon is there. The moon is for real. And there is, it looks a lot like Bowie to me, actually, appearing as the man in the moon there. So maybe it's all about David Bowie. I don't think it is, but that is kind of, that's how the artwork in this deck focuses. And it's that out there-ness that David Bowie always expresses in his songs. And whenever he makes it, well, he's passed away now, God rest his soul, but whenever he created a new song, he was always looking at something bizarre, but it always related to real life, because real life is actually something that encompasses all these bizarre, all these strange, random, different energies, really difficult energies sometimes. So the moon, it's not easy to make that decision, but if we're straight with ourselves, we really can start deciding stuff, and then we can actually start making progress. We can get things going, we can get things moving. So what is card number 3, I hear you ask? What is card number 3 on it? It's this one. And it is number 6, Major Arcana again, the Lovers. This is a very intense reading, actually. So much of the Major Arcana coming into things here. And the 2 of Wands even, I mean, it's a low number and it's a suit card, but it's still quite intense. Stuff needs to be happening when you get the 2 of Wands. But here we are with number 6, the Lovers, and this is the short-term future. Now, if you're looking for a partner in life and you chose card number 4, this is a really good sign for you, actually, because it can be all about that romantic love, but it links to the heart chakra, a big star, and that can be the higher heart kind of fluffy pink cloud love, love, love energy, or it can be a love of life, it can be a love of the sort of earth energies, the fact that we've got our place in this world, and it can be telling us to learn to love life too. That's different for everyone, only you really know. But even if you're questioning yourself about that one, there's one aspect of love that's going to jump out for you with this card. I just know it. So we've got wonderful colours here. You know, we've got colours coming together, as well as we've actually got the lovers coming together in this card. So it's all about mingling, it's all about joining things together. And since this whole video actually is about energy and working with energy and different energies, do they clash, do they work together? Well, nothing's really clashing in this card, is it? Because it's number 6, a very magical number, a very balanced number as well. And it represents a lot of progress if you can go along with it. That's the thing about the lovers. You can get hung up on love, you really can. And very often when people are asking for a card on the live videos, it's about something to do with their love life. It is very, very important to people. But the answer to that is always, you know, try and be the happiest, best person you can. Live the sort of life you love. Then you're going to attract someone who has the same kind of direction of love overall, and that is going to make for a brilliant relationship. So whichever way you're seeing that, card number 4 is number 6, Major Arcana, it's the Lovers. So that leaves us with card number 5. Did you pick card number 5, my friends? Is it a suit card? Is it a court card? Is it Major Arcana? Well, this time it's a court card, a royal card. It's the King of Pentacles. He is a lover of life and all, you know, the abundance of different things there are in life. So again, we see all the energies coming together in terms of what the King of Pentacles is all about. It is, of course, everything to do with abundance, because it's a Pentacles card. It's a very earthy, down-to-earth expression of the Pentacles as well, with the King of Pentacles, because he likes to share his abundance with other people. And this is great as an outcome card. If we look at the world situation, this is pointing towards things getting a lot better, to things adding up better, and to making a whole lot more sense. So, King of Pentacles, really positive, strong energy. And if you pick this card, friends, abundance is coming to you if you haven't got it already. If you have got it already, then abundance is going to grow, and the sky is the limit with abundance. That is how it works. And that is the 5-card pick a card reading, friends. So thank you very much for that. Right, all that talking, we'll have a nice drink of tea now. Don't read the writing on the cup, it's very rude words. It's an American mug as well. A friend of mine sent it to me. Wonderful to have. Well guys, that is it for today's reading and for today's video, all about the different kinds of energy and how they can come together. And we really saw them coming together in that pick a card reading as well. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you really got something out of it, guys. Do please leave me a comment, let me know how it was for you. Let me know how the whole kind of Twig Brother thing is for you. It's always good to know, and it's good to share the journey as well. I really feel that I'm sharing the journey with you guys. Do please hit the subscribe button too, and give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this one. Both a thumbs up and a subscribe, and leaving a comment actually shows the algorithm what for. It not just for this channel, you know, all the psychic channels, the more action a psychic channel gets, the more the psychic movement on YouTube is going to succeed and get promoted. It's a wonderful possibility, and it's something you can all do from home, from being a viewer, that is actually going to help the spread of the psychic energy, the mediumship, whatever you want to call it, spreading the healing, being free with the healing. And it is easy to be free with the healing, like it says in that song. So make free with your thumbs ups and hitting subscribe buttons for me and all the other psychic channels. If you would like to buy me or buy the channel a coffee, please visit ko-fi.com/Andy's Readings. There's a link to that right under the description for this video. It's down there. You have to press the chevron thing if you're on a mobile device, and that will take you into the description. You might have to tap read more as well, and that'll take you down there to the link to the coffee page and to all good things which are linked to down there. There's my Facebook account. You can visit the Twig Brother Facebook page. I'm there on Instagram as well. There's a link to that. Links to Reddit and Twitter too. Plenty of links, and I've enjoyed making the link with you guys today. So thank you very, very much for watching. I look forward to meeting you on a live video sometime as well. Look out for those lives. I love doing them, and they're always great fun as well. We get a nice energy in the chat to go with it as well. You know, people talking to each other, sending healing to each other. It's fantastic. So do join in the Twig Brother thing, which is kind of like the everything thing is how I'm trying to make it. And I'll see you again very, very soon, either on a live or in a future video, whichever way it goes in a future video. Take good care of yourselves, friends. Love, light, blessings to you, and peace.